We are gonna go through the most bizarre NBA rules, of which some are only very rarely enforced.
My goodness! Oh boy, hard!
No shatter rule.
When Jerome broke the backboard, it literally sounded like someone throwing a brick through a huge glass window.
The rule goes, if a player dunks so hard that they shatter the backboard, the point is not counted and the player in question receives a technical foul. However, after the late Darryl Dawkins kept breaking backboards by yanking the rim too hard when dunking, and kept being fined up to $25,000 for his, well, destruction of property, something had to be done. Science came to the rescue and developed a virtually humanely impossible to break backboard, the breakaway rim, and there hasn't been a shattered backboard since. Turned out, however, that breaking the backboard isn't the only way to break something. In 1993, at the time rookie Shaquille O'Neal broke the entire support system holding the rim in place. The backboard, well, that didn't shatter, but I think we can argue that this is at least as dangerous, if not more. And it just kept happening. No long free throws. Imagine your entire team, not to speak about the millions of people watching, putting pressure on you to score a free throw. You want to take as much time as possible to focus, right? Well, too bad, as much time as possible is limited to about 10 seconds. NBA star Dwight Howard is one of the players who has been penalized for taking too long at the foul line. No logos. Item 5 of Section H of the NBA Rulebook's extended comment section, which governs player, team, conduct and dress, reads, the only article bearing a commercial logo which can be worn by a player is their shoes. This rule has been extended to jerseys, but any player outfit choices cannot have any logos, even though there are some outfit limitations outside of the field too, but we'll get into that shortly. Probably the most absurd time this rule has been enforced was when Iman Shumpert shaved the Adidas logo into his hair. He was told he was not allowed to keep it like that, and the next day he shaved the 3 stripes out, leaving only a triangle. He was dropped by Adidas later anyway, so that didn't really age well. No double zeros. Continuing in the trend of player outfits on the court, a player is allowed to sport any number he wishes, with some exceptions. Both the numbers 0 and 00 are allowed individually, but not together on the same team. This is for pretty obvious errors in keeping score of players and mixing up 0 and 00. No Timberlands. Like in most cases where a player or person of fame is sponsored by a brand, it is dangerous to wear the brand's competitor's clothing, beverage, or any product for that matter, in fear of losing your sponsorship with that brand. This rule, even though it might sound like a case of this, isn't. In 2005, David Stern reformed the NBA dress code. One of the most confusing bans he set was the ban on Timberland-style boots while under the eyes of NBA fans. There are different uniforms for different occasions. There's the uniform you wear on the court, there's the uniform you wear when you're on business, there's the uniform you might wear on your casual downtime with your friends, and there's the uniform you might wear when you go back home. We're just changing the definition of the uniform that you wear when you are on NBA business, Stern said in an interview. It is no secret that the NBA and any big sports events for that matter are commercially lucrative events. This fact also shows in some of NBA's rules. You might know that a team has 6 timeouts available per game. What you might not know What you might not know though is that each team is required to use at least 4 of these timeouts. This is so that the network gets a chance to air their commercials. Emergency disaster draft. This rule is a bit more dramatic, and I'm sure no one wishes to actually witness it being enforced. If a team ends up in an accident that results in 5 or more players of that team dying, this team gets to draft the players from the other teams. Each team gets to protect 5 players, and the team that met with the tragedy gets to choose from the pool of all the leftover players. I'm sure even though mixing teams like this is pretty controversial to some of the players and they might not like it, in a case like this they will all show good sportsmanship and go with the flow. Sixth man rule. This is by far the most bizarre and sneaky rule of the NBA. Imagine a scenario where a team has just taken a timeout. The timeout is over and the players get sent back on the court. However, instead of the normal 5, the coach sends out 6 players. If the team manages to score before the referee notices the extra player, the point is counted. If, however, the referee manages to catch the extra player, this results in a technical foul. The bounce shot. If a player scores by bouncing the ball off the ground, the point is still counted, even in a case where time runs out and the ball scores after the buzzer. Now, is this technique recommended? I would say no, but it is still legal. Ban on specific shoes. Now, a player is allowed to wear shoes by any brand he chooses, even though most players choose to go with the top brands like Adidas. However, there are some exceptions. One exception are shoes by a company called Propulsion Labs. This ban was set in place in 2009, specifically because these shoes included a load and launch technology. This technology would use players' pressure and momentum to launch them higher into the air. This would obviously result in an unfair advantage. Now, interestingly enough, after NBA banned this company, their shoe sales went up, so it wasn't that bad after all. The jump ball rule. Even though the jump ball is one of the most common situations basketball fans can witness during an NBA match, there are several things that may go wrong. And if the referee notices one or both players are lined up incorrectly prior to the jump ball, some penalties might be enforced. During the jump ball, players have to be correctly aligned towards the basket they're going to score, and if they're not, a referee can call a foul on one of the teams if he notices so before 24 seconds have gone by. If the referee notices it after 24 seconds have passed, they will just go on shooting to that basket and change sides later in the second half as usual. That's it for this NBA video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any additional crazy rules, feel free to leave your comments down below. Also, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like this in the future, a like and subscribe would really be appreciated. Thanks and see ya.